Hi, everybody, and welcome to Reed's Spider-Man Crawl Space Edition. Check us out at the SpiderManCrawlspace.com. Well, everybody, I'm here, of course, to review Amazing Spider-Man number 7 by Joe Kelly and the return of artist John Romita Jr. on artwork here as we kick off the Hellgate storyline. As you know, this was the big new bad that, Joe Kelly was talking about before his run started. And here we are for the next couple issues. So, exactly how well did this creative team do on the book? Well, let's get into the pros. Number one is, believe it or not, Hellcate's a very interesting villain. He has a very well set. The fact that he doesn't cut. I do like in the introduction when they're trying to still track down, of course, Kingsley's people at the Queen Cole is the fact that he wants Spider-Man out of the way, and the fact that he actually goes and kills off Kingsley's men. Doesn't even think about it. He wants a fight with Spider-Man. It's very interesting too, as he's basically told that he was basically thrown at Spider-Man, which adds to the mystery, as Peter and Black Cat are kind of like, what's going on? Also, we see this as a kind of a little classic. Peter is really out of his element here because he has a villain who honestly should be a Thor or Hercules bad guy, maybe even to a small point, maybe even a Captain America or Namor villain here. I do like the fact that Peter actually gets out of his elements, and there is actually really good use of Joe Kelly with flashbacks here. Instead of our middle school days with Brian, they're actually getting stuff that actually hasn't been touched on since Tom DeFalco and J.M.D. Matias's work on Spider-Man. I do like the fact that Joe Kelly has been going a little bit more into Ben Parker's background. Ben Parker not only was a former military vet, but he was also a boxer. He was actually a trainer. I do like this part where he's actually Peter using some of his lessons from Ben, talking about when to fight and when to run, and it actually is pretty good. And I have to say, much like many people, as I still enjoy John Romita Jr.'s art. And believe it or not, when he's fighting Hellgate, he actually decides to use his web cartridges to kind of try to outsmart him and see how powerful Hellgate is. It's actually smart. This is a Peter Parker that's not been used in a long time, and the artwork works well. As much as we do love Pepe LaRosa's work on Spider-Man here, John Romita Jr., like I said, not only has, but this is the artwork we actually enjoy. This is back in the early mid 90s John Romita Jr. artwork we were seeing, and even late 90s on Spider-Man and Thor, where he actually does it. And there's a nice familiarity with it. And I do like the fact that for one moment you actually have Spider-Man actually getting up and actually looks like he's found a way to actually hurt Hellgate and actually has a little area, but of course it's not. So both his language and his use was along like, oh, there's the Parker luck hitting me. I thought on my head and then I have issue. This is Peter Parker. The cons, unfortunately, I've already talked about the fact that Hellgate feels more like a Hercules Thor villain, or I say, Captain America Namor maybe at the most here too. Also, the way Black Cat is, I didn't use the panel here too, but when she's actually taking the weapons from the van and actually, using automatic assault weapons on Hellgate, he's kind of looking at her like, what's that supposed to do? Get out of my way, wench. I don't care about you. It's kind of showing that, in a way, Black Cat's kind of forced into the storyline. As much as the writer enjoys Black Cat, Felicia Hardy, more than any other certain female characters of the book, there does feel like a piece of like she's here because the writer wants her here, even though he has no way of using her in a really thing. I'm hoping that may changes in issue 8 in a couple weeks. Also, the fact is we actually got the continuation with the one character that we saw back in Two Crimson about, who I accidentally unleashed Hellgate back in issue 1 a couple months ago. The fact that he's been repeatedly calling and trying from the Fantastic Avengers that a person on the bus is like, you've been not using a breath since you did Illinois. Shout out to us Illinoisans out there too. But the fact he has a device to talk about reality, in fact, he knows who Captain Universe is in our 616 universe. It feels like we have this kind of like Deus Machina kind of plot armor character that's thrown in and trying to do everything else, and we really don't know much about him. Yeah, it adds a little mystery, but it feels very heavy-handed. This character has been tracking Hellgate and the fact that pieces on there. Also, the fact is that there's even more mystery here. We get this person here, which looks like, as I say, looks like Vigil or something, which is along Dan Jurgens' character back on Captain America that has also been tracking down and finding Hellgate, has the messed up cracked shield and everything. I feel like Joe Kelly wants to build this character up, bad guys, as well as put some mythology and origin, which is good. I'd rather have a bad guy with a decent origin and motivation, as we've seen with Hellgate, basically is picked up by whoever the mysterious benefactor is that's been plaguing Spider-Man the last couple years with the Hobgoblin, actually threw him at him, basically taking a loaded new weapon and throwing it at a target and hoping to get Spider-Man out of the way. So there's a cool little mystery there, but we feel like we're having two different types of books in here. Why Joe Kelly should kind of honestly just fold on it. Not that he has never gone out of his way in his various books, from Deadpool to, of course, his days on X-Men. It feels a little odd to have this other character thrown in. There's a mystery here, but at the same time, it's not a mystery I'm not really excited about. And it's also nice that there is a little talk about it. He's trying to find ways to use motivations here, like with J. Jonah Jameson about reading the newspaper, which is so in character for Jonah. But really, what does it have to do with him calling out of here? It doesn't really think. It feels like we're trying to use the supporting cast member after the last 6 issues of introducing Rand Corp and Peter's new job of care with Orm and Brian. There's not a lot here. Otherwise, it's not a bad issue. The artwork is good. I feel like this is a Spider-Man that's trying to be competent. Actually, feels like he's trying to figure a way to fight this new bad guy, and actually how it works and how does it really fit into the grand scheme of things. Even the cliffhanger, what he's saying, good. Now I actually feel like I have a challenge here, Prince. We have interesting mysteries. I mean, I do want to know who Hellgate is and what the whole mystery is, and exactly more about who throws them and everything. And I do love the quips here, especially this panel here, Smellgate, which was really funny because he says how he's a walking furnace and he smells like sulfur. I actually like it because as we saw some of those jokes here, especially the flashback. It's not a bad issue. The artwork is fantastic, so I'm actually going to give it a B minus. It's still an interesting thing to the continuing main mystery that's going on for Joe Kelly's storyline as we go into this, and I know Peter's going to be a little sideline come the end of the summer here, so it's kind of enjoy the ride what it is. The artwork, though, I think is fantastic. I think it's some of the best work John Romita Jr. has done in the last year, and it feels not only familiar, but it actually feels like it fits the story, even though the character bad guys kind of feel like it's something out of another book. But it gets a B minus for me. And on that note, guys, definitely think about liking and subscribing to the channel so you're alert here. It also helps, of course, the review algorithm too, if you want more or find past ones on there too. And it always helps, of course, have the channel grow as well as the reviews because I do these for you. I love doing them, and I hope if you like and subscribe to the channel, please think of leaving a comment or two here too about sharing it on that. And for more, everybody, if you like those reviews and more, of course, check out our podcast and everything on our social media and webpage at spidermancrawlspace.com. And of course, think about subscribing to our Patreon page so you get news as well as, out pieces too, of course, helping out for our satellite reviews and other wonderful things that go on the spidermancrawlspace.com. And with that note, everybody, I hope everybody has an enjoyable holiday weekend, and I will catch everybody in a couple weeks on the crawl space.